Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa over there.
Hello.
I'm Kelly. Just before the mics started rolling, guys, we were talking about the Rob Zombie Monsters trailer.
God.
And then, Eric, you informed me that what we thought was going to go to theaters suddenly after the trailer was released became a Netflix property.
Yep.
That's super interesting to me.
Yeah. The way I read it was it came out and it got the reaction it got, which if anybody has seen it understands it was not great. And they, like 2 or 3 days later, announcing premieres on Netflix here. And like, oh, well, is that after theater? No, just straight to Netflix.
Oh, my God.
So I popped over to Rob's page or Instagram or something to see what he would be spinning it. It's like, no, man, that was the plan the whole time.
I bet.
It's like, generally, as anybody knows, if you've watched Stranger Things or anything, when those trailers come out, there's Netflix branding somewhere.
Yeah, there's the big N that shows up at the end. Ba-boom.
I just don't understand the thought process behind making it the way it's going to get made. It looks so fucking bad.
It
like
really
intolerable.
has a kind of like a 90s look to it. And
Right.
and I don't understand that.
Like,
why, if you're going to do that, why not go for a 60s look, which would make a little more sense?
It looks so TV and it's like 90s wishing it was 60s. So it's like even weirder and just, I don't know who it's for. I mean, I guess it's for him.
Basically, yes. Because his unending and I guess respectable feeling of his wife being able to act and now actually carry a movie. She is the lead for this.
Oh my
And it's like,
gosh.
Nope.
That's who that was. I was like, I don't even know who these people are. Like, nothing about this is appealing on any level.
Pretty soon, I mean, it would have made complete sense to me if she was playing every part in the movie.
Sure. You know what? That would make a better movie. I'd be like,
That'd be
art
interesting.
house. Okay, we're fine. Get it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I could at least enjoy that properly altered. But man,
I also, I don't get, like you said, you don't know who it's for.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally don't know who it's for because the humor, such as it is,
Yeah.
was really, I don't know, like
4-year-old.
yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
I mean, we're
was like,
immature, but damn.
and there's a way to, I think, probably bring the monsters into present day and make it
Right.
funny and topical, but that's not what's going on here, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has that feeling of it's not going to be appropriate for kids or adults. It's going to be like adults are going to be like, this is too stupid. And kids are going to be like, I don't understand half the jokes because apparently people like to have sex at some point.
Well, I don't think, did you get some kind of sex joke vibe out of the trailer?
I just know it'll be in there. It's definitely, I feel like at some point it's going to be like adult humor and like it's going to cross the line at certain points is my guess. I don't think kids are going to be excited about this movie.
No.
Well, and this is going to be sacrilege to a lot of people. The Monsters was never funny. It was, bad 60s television. And I liked it as a kid because it had monsters in it.
Right.
Sure.
But, eventually you kind of, your sense of humor grows.
Yeah.
And so you kind of move on to different things. And when, kids from the 90s, they grew up on The Simpsons and
Yeah.
Family Guy and stuff like that. You're growing up with biting, smart humor.
Yeah.
And then you're faced with this as a movie, you're just going to be not interested.
Yeah, the perfect example of what they should have done is in 2 updated films, the Brady Bunch movie and the Addams Family film,
Yeah.
where they took this and said, okay, here's the base of what we're doing, but we're going to skew it a little bit. We're going to do something weird with it. We're not going to try to recreate it in some weird way. I mean, you've got out there The Love Witch. I don't know, either of you see that
Yeah.
one?
Not yet, but
It's a decent film, but it looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks like it was shot in the era
Right.
that they want it to be. It doesn't look like they recreated the area. It looks like somehow they time traveled and shot it at that time. And to have a guy with the resources he has, if you're going to color it, at least do that. Make it look like that
Super
era.
poppy.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to modernize it, make them look more I mean, it sits in this weird place of making, it's like, I'm going to colorize it and then make not another decision about anything of how it looks.
Right.
Yeah.
I knew that I was probably not going to like this because I'm not a big zombie fan, but I thought after watching this, if he had decided to modernize it and make it ultra gory and violent like every one of his movies, I would have at least said, oh, this looks interesting.
Totally, yeah. If he had taken that property and been like, what if they're actually fucking monsters, though? And, the Frankenstein guy is like crushing people's heads. And,
That's Herman Munster.
I mean, the
Vanessa.
Munster guy is crushing heads. And, like that would be really interesting. I would maybe even consider seeing that movie. And I have avoided Rob Zombie for a long time. So I actually can't say if he's a good filmmaker or not because I am so worried about watching anything he makes because it all looks hideous.
There are people that love him. I mean, really love his work. I liked, big fan of music, actually. I really liked White Zombie and I liked Rob Zombie's music. I love his attitude towards horror.
Yeah.
He loves horror. I
Yeah.
mean, he loves it. And he knows a shit ton about it.
Oh no, he's like the Eli Roth issue.
There's some similarities there. Yeah. So it's like, man, I wish that translated. I think he's made a couple interesting films, but I wish it translated into more.
Yeah.
That love.
Man.
Yeah, listener, if you're just tuning in, we are in the We Hate Rob Zombie podcast. Our next topic is Halloween 2.
Oh, wow.
It's hard to even remember what it's about. A hospital.
You guys, I watched a pretty good movie this last week called Black Phone.
Hey, I was going to talk about that too.
Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about it.
Nice.
Totally should have brought it up because I also saw that movie this week.
Cool. Well, so based on a Joe Hill story, and the parts of the story that were in the movie were right from the story.
Oh, nice.
I liked it.
Yeah, I did too.
I was so surprised because I was really on the fence as to whether or not I'd like it, and I loved it. And I've been a little like on edge this week, so I did cry at the end for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why, but I was like super emotional. It was good.
Super emotional because it ramps up the anxiety.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, yeah, it does.
I really cared about those kids. By the end. I was just like,
Yes.
oh my
that,
God.
that lead actor, whoever the hell he is, that kid is going places.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. It had really strong King vibes to me. In general, I know that obviously, he's his son, but like it really felt like vintage, like intense, kid coming of age King stuff in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that they kept it period setting.
Yeah, that helped.
And it looked old and it looked cool and everybody was great in it and I was very happy I watched it.
Yeah, there's a few moments I'm watching and go, why don't you do this or something like that? But then they kind of answer the questions, they take those moments and they show up again and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the end there was definitely a moment where I was yelling at the screen, that meat's gonna mean something, and it did, and that's good writing. Because like that's the horrible thing when you're like, look, there's like a way to get out this way or that way, or you can do this or that, and then they really do address it, and you go, oh shit, like I guess
Pretty good.
really, really good.
100% on the Strange Eons Radio Tomatoes.
Yeah, nice.
I do forget we do those sometimes, and every time you start, I'm like, "Oh, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 100. Oh no, we gave it 100. Great, okay,
3 out of 3.
yeah, incredible. Well, it's been kind of a crazy week, but I actually saw a pretty cool thing yesterday.
All right.
I went and saw Nope.
Oh, please tell us all about it.
Well, I don't want to tell you anything about it, frankly. I think that I know that before I went and saw it, I saw the second trailer, which had a lot more plot in it. And I was extremely mad about it because I didn't want anything spoiled for me. But despite that second trailer, there is still so much incredible shit going on in that film. I am terrified of aliens.
I know this.
Yes, I was really, really worried. And for me, it could have been worse in that direction, but it wasn't, which was good. Like I felt like they balanced this idea in such an interesting, cool concept, and there were still some moments that I literally cannot get visuals out of my head from because they're so fucking messed up. But other moments where I'm like, wow, okay, you did this other really crazy fucking thing. And just beautiful, wonderful storytelling across the board. It doesn't answer everything you see in it. It leaves some of that up to you to try and figure out and work through. And it's not the stuff that you think it is. And I just love it. It was a great film. Really, really good. And I got to see it in the local Lincoln Square IMAX, which I didn't know they had one, and it's good. I didn't know they had a good IMAX.
Oh, cool.
So I recommend seeing it in IMAX if you can.
Yeah, Lincoln Square is it's a lot of theaters.
There are a lot of theaters. I've been many times, and I was shocked.
Is that a new IMAX?
I have no idea.
Did we see that Queen show in IMAX?
We might have, yeah. That sounds familiar, the live one.
Yeah.
It was on the right-hand side when you enter the area. Yes. So, if that helps at all, which it probably does not.
Ago, so I don't know.
Is that the Cinemark or the big theater?
It's it's the big one. It's not the Reserve, but it is. They're both Cinemark.
Right.
Yeah. So the big one.
Well, one is 21 and over only, and the other's
correct. It's the normies,
fun.
the normie family fun area.
Cool.
So yes, I did.
Yeah,
I had no
one.
clue. Really good. Really fucking good. You guys should check it out.
Nice. Well, I checked out at least the first couple episodes, and we'll carefully continue with The Offer.
Oh, good. You're liking it.
Man, it is so good. And such a great example of how I am sure Hollywood works a lot more often than we think. When it's just a whole bunch of people who really don't know what the hell they're doing, but just keep doing it until it gets done.
Yeah.
And this movie definitely has those kind of characters.
Yeah. If for those who aren't familiar with it, The Offer is on Paramount Plus, and it is supposedly the making of The Godfather.
Yeah, I'm sure there are aspects, but it's
Seems
definitely
like a lot of fiction is going on in this.
Very dramatic.
Yes, but it's fascinating and got Miles Teller in it as main.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's very good.
that makes it sound worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Mario Puzo's the dude they cast for that.
Yeah.
Looks stunningly like Mario.
He really does. And
Jesus.
Coppola looks a lot like Coppola
Yeah.
did back then. They didn't quite nail it with Frank Sinatra.
No, that was, which is weird because that's usually such an easy get to do some kind of a Sinatra.
They should just get his son. Sorry, not his son. Woody Allen's son. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of.
This is a twisty road. I'm curious where the ending is.
Right.
You know what? I'm gonna step away from this road. I'm gonna walk away from this road. I'm gonna go into the tall grass. And I'll be over here. Don't mind me.
All right, we're good.
Well, one of the things I was really excited to check out, and I did take out 44 minutes of my busy schedule to watch the first 2 episodes of the new season of Primal is on HBO
is it?
Max.
Oh, I didn't know that they did a
nice.
season 2. Okay.
Yes, and it's as great as the first season. Very cool stuff. I love how they're, when it first started out, it was definitely just Cro-Magnon man and dinosaurs somehow living together. And now, by the end of last season, we started seeing those kind of weird, witchy people that are far more advanced than what's his name? Spear, I think is what
Something
they call
like that.
him.
I don't remember.
And in this season, we've gone even a little further than them. So it's very clear that he is kind of the last of his kind, and that Homo sapien is walking the earth while he is about to do whatever he's going to do.
Wild.
Which is go extinct, I imagine.
Oh, wow.
Munch finally get caught by T-Rex.
Well, I actually watched a show that I kind of had no intention of watching, but it was pretty fun. Also, big Neanderthal looking dude, Reacher season 1.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
I
enjoyed
it was
that a
pretty
lot.
fun. Yeah, I mean it's definitely not the stuff I'd normally go for as far as like just actiony, but I don't know. He's such a charismatic guy.
I like that lead guy. I've seen him in a lot of stuff, and I've liked everything he's been in.
Yeah.
And, He does great. The
I was furious because he was Hawk in Titans.
I know,
and
man.
they killed him, and I was like, "What the hell?" And then they killed him, and he got this immediately. And I watched all 10 episodes, and I was like, I could go for another season of Reacher.
Yes.
Yep. And they've been greenlit for I think 1, if not 2 more seasons.
Fantastic.
But it's going to be like new stories, so it won't be that same little town, which I think is unfortunate because I really like the the relationship between him and the main girl.
Have either read the books?
I haven't.
No.
Mike Davis of the Lovecraft Easy, and that's like his favorite author
right.
and book series. And he's a little more up on all the details here. Yeah, they're literally doing each book in the order
Oh my
per
gosh.
season.
Wow.
So if it is popular
Nice.
enough, it's already got like 13 seasons planned.
Oh my God. I mean, look, that guy is incredible and just so fun. Such a good character. So yeah. But it's such like an intense story. I don't know, like he dug up info about his dad, or not his dad, his brother. Like it just feels like there's, I don't know, it feels like he went through all the emotional stuff. I don't know.
Easy on the eyes, too.
Yeah, I mean, not typically my type, but that character really brings it all together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
What was it? Blood Car? That was on the Sci-Fi Channel or something like that, where he was in the.
Blood Car.
Yeah, I think that's the name of the
No,
series.
it was
with,
Blood something.
But Blood
where-
Race or
Yeah,
Blood
I think it was Blood
something like
Race.
that, where they were. It's sort of like the Cannonball Run jacked up to insane proportions, where their cars run on blood
Right.
and they're racing across.
Was he in
Oh
that?
my God.
Yeah, he was the lead guy.
Oh, wow. I didn't recognize him.
Yeah. But and Blue Mountain State, of course.
Right.
Well, let's see. Tap dance here because I was going to talk about Black Phone. Did
did you see
anybody
Black
see the Dungeons and Dragons trailer?
I
Yeah.
did.
I did see that one.
It's funny because literally moments before I saw that, I was like, why couldn't they, for Strange New Worlds, just get fucking Chris Pine back as Kirk? Because the guy they got as Kirk sucked. And I was like, Chris Pine's doing nothing right now. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, he's
I was-
doing what looks
was
like a
wrong.
pretty damn fun film.
It looks so fun. And I'm not even like a big D&D person.
Played a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, and especially younger and
Yeah.
kind of like it's one of those things. Oh man, I wonder if I think it'd still be fun to do. My nephew went to school to where he was one of his textbooks was the Player's Handbook
Oh,
and all this stuff. So they're teaching like video games, but also board game, role-playing games, all this stuff, and how to write them and develop them and all this shit.
Whoa.
And we were on a family reunion a couple of years ago, and he ran a quick campaign. I'm like, fuck, dude, this guy is really good at this.
Wow.
So I was like, he's actually going to, what is the big gaming convention in where Gygax was born? Gen Con or something
Probably
like that?
Gen Con, yeah.
Yeah, I guess he's going up there for something. He'll be there for the whole time. It's like, I'm a little jealous. This sounds pretty cool.
Oh.
Way cooler than any class I ever took.
Yeah,
Oh
no
my
shit.
God, that was in high school?
No, this is college level stuff.
Okay, that makes so much more sense.
Yes, yeah.
I was like, what cool ass high school was he in? Okay, no, that's incredibly cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. He came
wow.
to Dean and was like, "Hey, you guys want to help me with picking up some textbooks or something for me?" I mean, he asked more elegantly than that, and I was like, "Of course." And that's what we're picking up. The DM guy, the Player's Handbook's like, "What the? Damn it, man! I wanted to go to this school."
Back to that trailer.
Yeah.
It did look fun. I get that, it's all fan service. All
yeah.
that stuff. I been burned too many times on a Dungeons and Dragons movie. So I'm hopeful for this, but I'm sure it's gonna suck. Sorry, guys.
That's
I
fair.
guess that means other Dungeons and Dragons movies have been made.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. They must be bad because I've never heard of them.
Quite bad.
Oh
Yeah,
dear.
yeah. And cartoon series, which was a little bit more
I
fun.
like
but,
the cartoon series,
but
as a
not-
kid.
Yeah, not really D&D.
No.
But it was a fun show. And then, of course, what Mazes and Monsters was a spin-off take on that with Tom Hanks in his first film.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Made for TV
Oh.
movie that was about the horrors of it, and like he ends up killing someone or somebody kills themselves.
Yeah.
What?
Try to tie it into the game.
That was, yeah,
God.
at the height of the satanic panic and how.
You guys had that. I had like Mortal Kombat and everyone,
Oh, yeah.
all the parents being like, you can't play this game anymore, even though you've been playing it for a year. I'm like, get over here.
And that's when you threw an ice pick with chain on the end right into your mom.
Yep, exactly. They weren't wrong. Turns out, no, that's so crazy. Yeah, it does look good, and I love that he's the loot guy. He's the guy, the bard or whatever
Bard,
he's
yeah.
gonna end up being. But I just wonder if they'll end up doing that thing that you see a lot of times now, where it's like then they cut to people around a table playing, and then go cut back to the crazy
right.
adventure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting, like what take they do on it. I think they're not going to, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't think doesn't look like it, but who knows? Yeah, the post sequence of all the gamers going out for shawarma.
Yep.
There's some deep fan service crap there.
Oh, yep.
All right, guys, why don't we take a little break? And then when we come back, we are talking drugs, man.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
It's yours?
No,
My mother said she found it in your closet.
I don't know. One of the guys must
Must have what?
Look, Dad, it's
Where
not
did you get it?
Dad,
Answer me. Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
Parents who use drugs have children who use drugs.
And we are back. Eric, this was your subgenre pick.
That is true. And I got an eyeful on this one, man.
Oh.
Ooh, good
Really?
movie, but a rough movie.
Oh.
I believe it's pronounced Navalleros.
¿No has oído a mi colega o qué? Le duele mucho la muela. Dale todo lo que te pida. ¡Te he dicho que no te muevas! ¡Gilipollas, que estás cagada!
En ese pub se reúnen todos los traficas y camellos de Madrid.
¿Llevan posturas grandes?
Descarado, tío. Costo, caballo, tripi, de todo. Le acompañamos en el sentimiento.
Muchísimas gracias. Pero hace ya 10 años que murió mi pobre Tomasa y vengo todos los sábados a hacer una visita y a rezarle un poquito.
¿No nos podía dejar 10 duros para pillar el autobús?
Bueno.
Danos todo lo que lleves.
¡Vamos, fueta!
Which I'm looking it up. Some page said translate to thugs. I'm like, really? That makes no sense. So I kept looking around. A little long. Knifers is probably what the real translation is. It's either knives or knifers.
Okay.
Which makes a lot more sense phonetically, at least. I don't know.
I've not heard of this movie.
Came out in 1980. 2 movies in a row, well, with absolutely no Rotten Tomatoes listing. So
You're digging deep.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's Severin release. So
Okay.
a box set of, not a box set, but a series of films from director Eloy de la Iglesias. The disc I watched also had the 2 follow-ups called Il Poco 1 and Il Poco 2, are follow-ups to this film. So it's a series of 3 films. Be a while probably till I watch part 2.
But you'll forget the plot.
No, it's pretty basic.
Okay.
He also directed The Priest and The Creature and a variety of other stuff. He's also a writer on the film and pretty much wrote damn near everything he directs, it looks like. He also had Gonzalo Goichicha, who was the co-writer on many of his films. Stars Jose Luis Manzano, who was also in El Poco 1 and 2. Pals, Policio, Ilsa Vega, who has 129 credits, including The Piranha's Mare.
Wait, The Piranha's Mayor or The Piranha's Mare? Either way, it's weird.
It's weird. And Fear and Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. Great movie titles. Veronica Castro, who's a little bit... She only lists as 47 credits, but you go through and you start looking at what she's been in. She's been in at least 2 TV series where she was in 300 episodes on each one.
Gosh.
So she's worked a lot. All Spanish-based. This is a Spanish-based film. Largely based on a true story, with the characters made a little bit more fictitious. You know, with Severin, I always figured it's probably going to be on genre, and it usually is. This is pretty much a drama with some really rough violence in it. But, oh well, my subject, I'll make the rules. Anyway, it starts in a courtroom where there's a 16-year-old being charged with a huge amount of crimes, like hundreds of muggings and break-ins.
Beautiful.
And the next is a series of him and a couple other gangs just running through the streets, stealing purses and breaking into payphones to get those quarters, which was an extremely hard process the way the movie showed it. But damn it, they were going to do it. Breaking windows in stores, stealing motorcycles, stealing cars, being hooligans. Then we learned that he is also sleeping with a much older lady. He is supposed to be 16 in the film. The actress was 39 or 40. And that was my guess. I ended up looking her up to see what her age was. And it's like, yeah, she looks like she's about 40. But they seem to have a lot of fun, I guess, Cougar before it was called Cougar.
Man, yeah, good for her.
16.
Oh, sorry. I did miss that detail. I'm sorry.
The opinions of the host do not necessarily reflect the values of Strange Eons Radio.
I take it significantly back. I'm so sorry.
Anyways, so the young lead guy is getting a little tired of the way the world is, or his world is, and he wants to expand and become better at crime, basically. He's a very ambitious criminal.
It sounds like he's already very good at it, though.
Yeah, they're doing all right. They meet with a friend who's a male prostitute and hooks him up with a party full of rich men. They're going to be there, and they break into the party and steal from all the people there, and apparently that went well, but they don't do it again. They are definitely criminals who keep changing their crimes as the movie goes on. He almost gets, one of the things he's got a shotgun that he keeps in what looks like a bowling ball bag, wandering around through the movie, and there's a scene where 2 cops are trying to look in the bag and things like that, and then his older girlfriend shows up and saves him because she knows one of the cops, and she knows the cops frequent a particular house of ill repute, shall we say.
Oh.
So she calls him out. Good to have that lady, I guess. There's a very strange long montage of her and the boy, not so much sleeping together, but kind of running around and playing around naked. And I mean, you said good for her, and the guy's 16, but if he's still growing, it's going to be porn career time in his future.
Oh my God.
But
do we see a lot? Is that what you're saying?
you see all of him and all of her. I mean, they're not shy in this movie at all.
Sure. Wow.
So that goes a little weird, and it's very strange because they're like goofing around, like making weird faces at each other, and all. It's a strange scene. It's well shot and well done and well acted, but it's just weird. Then he goes out to a club and he gets attracted to a woman that's much closer to his age. However, she needs drugs to get off. So here starts his world into diving into the world of buying and selling drugs.
Do they say what drug she needs?
Not really.
Okay, she just likes to be high when she...
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever you might have available.
Perfect.
Hash is talked about a lot, a little bit. I don't think they say heroin, but it's hinted at and stuff. So he goes to a dealer he knows and says, "Hey, I want to sell these drugs for you," and then robs the dealer.
Oh no, that's a bad plan.
Yeah, that comes back on him pretty bad. And then they escalate to stealing morphine and morphine products from pharmacies and good stuff like that. There's a wild scene that, as a filmmaker, I thought was really interesting. It's like, okay, how did you shoot this? Where they take a bunch of LSD and go to a concert, and it's a big concert. It looks like a Key Arena, an arena-sized building. But they have these real close-up shots of them. I'm watching the scene going, oh, okay, I see what you did. It looks like they brought a camera into this show and shot it from wherever they happened to be sitting.
Oh my gosh.
And then took about 8 or 9 people and put them on like a little bleacher chair somewhere and shot them and then mixed it really well. And they did a pretty good job of putting it all together. So unfortunately, the music starts up. Oh man, this might sound like some fun disco or rock from the 70s. No. Oh no, it was not great. The man he stole stuff from shows up again.
Shocking.
Yes. And
what a twist.
His take is that it's not that you stole from me, it's that I felt humiliated by you stealing from me. So he doesn't kill the kid, he humiliates him, and that's unpleasant. But then they decide we're going to get back to him, and they call all their gang friends, and it's like the beginning of the Warriors. Suddenly there's like hundreds of these young kids going to this guy's bar. It's like, oh, well, this is not going to go well. But the cops show up, so it doesn't go quite as bad as you might have thought. Most of the rest of the story revolves around a journalist who you see briefly a few times typing away on a typewriter and talking stats of youth violence and crime and things. And then he gets involved in wanting to try to interview the kid and somehow contacts the older lady the kid was sleeping with, and they try to arrange that. So there's a lot of back and forth of that, of him going in and out of a jail. And, things, of course, just get worse and worse. And I was originally not going to, I was just going to, as like I've been doing recently, just sort of leaving the ends of the films off. There's something that happens in the end of this film I feel like I need to let people know about before you watch it, because damn, I wish I had.
Oh no.
Okay, he gets his girlfriend pregnant, and it's that very classic idea of he's going to get killed while his baby's born, shot.
Right.
Okay.
And which surprised me a little bit because the actor's in the 2 sequels. So I'm going, okay, I guess maybe he plays his son, if it's his son that's born. Well, this was not a romantic entrance for the kid into the world. While his dad is getting taken out, I now know exactly what it looks like for a woman to give birth.
Oh my.
Oh,
I mean, exactly.
So was this a
Eric,
live
I'm so
birth on
sorry.
film?
Yes, exactly. Starts from crowning to pulling the baby. I was like, whoa. Not what I was expecting to see.
Oh, no. I am so sorry.
So I'm going, maybe that interests you, and now you definitely want to check this film out. No judgment, whatever. But I just wanted everybody to know that you might have something very different by the end of this film in your head.
Oh, my.
Whoa.
So,
So what? But was it like actually like? Did they just film like a real?
Oh yeah, they've shot someone giving birth.
1,000%. Whoa.
Yep.
That's wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
I've seen a lot of, there was a show when I was in college that I used to get off class just in time to catch every day, never purposefully, where it would be 2 different women giving birth per like 30-minute episode. And fuck, that really does scare the crap out of you. Yeah. And you don't even see like as much as that.
Oh no,
So
this is like,
that's crazy.
I would call it it's not an extreme close up, but it's a close up.
Oh my God.
You can kind of see her legs. Let's put it that way, how close it is.
God. It's like Cronenberg style.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes, there you go.
Wow. It's not an anti-drug movie. It's an make sure you use condoms, kids.
Yes.
I like that it's not an extreme close-up, but it sounds like a very extreme close-up.
There you go, yes.
Whoa.
So, anyways. So it was based on the real-life story of Jose Joaquin Sanchez Frutos, a.k.a. El Yarro. The film was co-production between Spain and Mexico, released as Dulces Novas. The film was a commercial success in Spain and Mexico, although I couldn't really find any numbers on how it was done. But is also considered a classic among the Quinqui film genre.
I have no idea what that is.
No.
Cine Quinqui or Cine Quinqui, meaning delinquency cinema, is a Spanish film genre that was real popular in the 70s and 80s. So,
that sounds like something.
Same kind of thing like with The Outsiders and those movies that were being made, but just a much more graphic version.
Wow.
The director cameos himself in the film. Very Hitchcockian. Now there is, even with this being a Severin Blu-ray release, there's not a lot on this film. There's a director interview I listened to a little bit, and all the extras are about that kind of film cinema, not specifically this film. So that's my trivia.
Wow.
I read like 3 or 4 reviews of it. I read other write-ups about it, and there's just an odd lack of talking about the film or talking about the behind the scenes and stuff, as opposed to just talking about the movie. So it's kind of like,
I've definitely run into that before, where it's, especially with newer movies, where it's just like, oh, there's.
Yeah.
But this sounds like a really obscure foreign title, so anything you are going to find is probably going to be written in Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
So.
How
were your drugs?
I can't wait to see your movie, Eric. I think I really lucked out. I think, I don't know, if we're still competing for best film, which we may or may not be, mine's going to be a pretty heavy contender.
Oh, how many live births are in your movie?
Oh.
I say mine was, it was a good movie.
There were 2 babies, at least, in my movie, but Robocop 2.
About a year ago, we gave this city Robocop.
Ready for duty, partner?
Nothing I'd rather do. I think he's worked out pretty well. Have a seat. This is a bust. But things have become a little rougher out there.
This unit needs millions of dollars in parts. You see, Robocop's off warranty. He's one of mine. And I want him back on his feet.
I believe that Murphy's case was unusual, but not unique. We can find someone else. Someone to whom the prospect might even be desirable.
And now, we need a law enforcement unit capable of meeting the enemy on his own ground.
She's screaming psychotic, sir.
Well, we aren't planning to build a toy. And carrying enough firepower to get the job done.
I got good news for you. You're going to have a chance for immortality.
With great pleasure, I give you Robocop 2. Ah, yes. Things will be a lot quieter with this boy around.
That thing is a killer!
Kane! Let's step outside.
You're obsolete!
Think it over, creep. Behave yourselves!
Oh, jeez.
From 1990, which I've never seen. So this has a Rotten Tomato score of 29% from critics, 36% from audience. Then I think that says something more about the era and time in which it came out rather than, I think if it had come out now, people would be having a lot more fun with it. The budget was somewhere between 25 and 30 million. It had a box office of 45.7, so it did just fine. The director is Irvin Kershner. So not the director of the first one. He has 32 credits. He's mostly a TV director, but we have talked about him before because he directed Eyes of Laura Mars. He also directed Star Wars Episode 5. He also did Never Say Never Again. All of those films back to back. Robocop 2 was the last film that he ever did. It was written by the actual Frank Miller of Frank Miller fame. So he has 29 credits, but we mostly know him from comics. But Sin City, Spirit, 300, Batman, Dark Knight. And
Frank Miller Bartman.
That'd be something. And then he did 26 episodes of something called Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot, which I don't know anything about, but that sounds pretty fun. He actually did write Robocop 2 and 3 and Robocop versus Terminator comic. It was co-written by Wallen. I don't know his first name. I guess I didn't write it down. He wrote the screenplay. He has 39 credits, including The Wild Bunch War Games and a lot of TV, including Law and Order, ER, NYPD Blue, Hill Street Blue. So he does a lot of those kind of cop shows. So this is a perfect fit for him. It is starring the one, the only, Peter Weller returns as Robocop. He's been in 86 things, mostly Robocop. No, he's also been in Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. He was in Naked Lunch. He was in Star Trek Into Darkness. He did a lot of TV recently, including Longmire, Sons of Anarchy, Dexter, and 24. Co-starring Nancy Allen. She has a lot more screenplay, I think, in this one. She plays Anne Lewis, his sort of co-police person?
Partner.
Thank you. Partner. His partner in policing. That word. She's been in 39 things. Dressed to Kill, Robocop 1, 2, and 3, Children of the Corn, 666, Isaac Returns, Poltergeist 3, The Philadelphia Experiment, and Carrie. So she's been around, but then she also did a lot of really bit parts too. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Belinda Bauer plays Juliet Fax. So she's this sort of strange psychologist character. She's been in 25 things, including Flashdance, UHF, Airwolf, Time Rider, and just tons of TV movies. Dan O'Herlihy, this is got a big cast, guys. He plays the old man who runs the big corporation. He's been in 137 things, but we would remember him from Halloween 3 as Colonel Cochran. William E. Pugh as the Mayor Kuzak. He's been in 60 things, including Air Force One, The Hills Have Eyes 2, The Color Purple, and he was in a bit part in Amazon Women on the Moon. Of course, Tom Noonan's in this as this sort of cult leader named Kane. He's been in 83 things, including he played Dollarhide in Manhunter. He was in Synecdoche, New York, and Man with One Red Shoe. A lot of TV stuff. It's funny because I recognized his name, but then looking through his stuff, I was like, there's no way I just know this guy as Dollarhide from Manhunter the one time I watched it. So I must be thinking of him from something, but I'm not 100% sure what. Gabriel Damon, who plays this kind of young kid character in this film. He's been in 46 things. It's funny because I was like, man, this kid is incredible. I hope he had a career after this. Oh, he did just fine. He was in Newsies. He played the voice of Littlefoot in Land Before Time.
Oh,
he was in 25 episodes of One Big Family, 23 episodes of Call to Glory. He also did walk-on roles for Mr. Belvedere, Punky Brewster, Growing Pains, Superman, the TV show, Who's the Boss. He was in all kinds of stuff. So he actually had a pretty good career. Stephen Lee, as the dirty cop, was in 118 Things. Very recognizable face, but it's the kind that you're like, I know you from something, but I'm not sure what. He was in War Games, Burlesque, La Bamba, and last but not least, Galen Gorg, who played a role that I really enjoyed, which was this sort of druggy girl, but she just did such a great job, who's part of this cult. She's been in 55 things, including Point Break, the Mantis TV series, which I know nothing about, Twin Peaks, she was in 3 episodes, and did a lot of walk-on roles. So the story, okay, so crime. So it is 1 year after the previous film. We start with this really tongue-in-cheek OCP commercial, and that's that big corporation that's kind of taking over everything. And it's this car thief getting into this really hot, cool little red car. He gets in there and he sits in, tries to start the car, and immediately gets strapped in and electrocuted. And we see the words Magnavolt, lethal response, and it won't even run down your car battery. Followed by another thing, a news reel showing that there's been a nuclear event that has ruined the rainforest. And the TV hosts are like, yeah, but the environmentalists say that every day. So, like, don't worry about that. The Surgeon General was gunned down because and it's funny because you're like, oh, he got gunned down after talking about this big drug that's been hitting the streets called nuke, and how that is really ruining the city of Detroit, and it's spreading like wildfire. And I didn't expect this, but then he is literally gunned down while he's giving his speech about nuke. I was like, oh, he leaves and then somebody shoots. No, he just gets shot right there. I was like, oh, okay. He was gunned down. All right, there we go. So it is a big problem. And on top of that, the Detroit police are on strike because OCP will not pay out their pensions. So there are no police out on the streets. There's rampant crime. And then we get into this shot that's almost like a oneer. It's not, but it feels like this continuous sequence of just crime on the streets. So you start with like a bunch of people basically shooting up nuke, like just sitting in the sidewalk. Essentially, one woman's like holding a baby. See, baby. While she's injecting it into her neck. And then we kind of hit this shot of this old lady with a shopping trolley full of cans, and she's crossing the street, and of course a car almost hits her. It hits her cans. The cans go everywhere, and this guy jumps in and he starts putting the cans in a cart for her, and he's like, oh, I'll help you. Then he grabs her purse and runs off, and you're like, what? Okay. So he takes out the cash and her jewelry and chucks the purse on the ground. He's like, ha, I've got this cash. And then he gets curb stomped by these 2 prostitutes who then take his cash. That was the old lady's cash. And I was like, oh, are they going to give it back to the old lady? Nope. They do stick a heel in his face though. So that was intense. So they start walking past and they're like counting their cash and trying to hurry along. You're like, oh man, who's going to take their cash? No one, but somebody is going to crash a car right past them into a gun store and rob the gun store. And you're just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, crime, like they are really selling this whole crime scenario. So of course, the guys steal all kinds of guns. They're loading up. They're like, hey man, where's the bullets for this, to the owner? And the owner's like, hey, the bullets are in the 3rd drawer. Just take what you want and leave. And they're like, okay, and shoot him in the face. So great. They grab a bazooka and they're like, yeah, man, this is cool. And of course, a cop car pulls up, and who should arrive on the scene despite everyone being on strike and no one being here to save the day but Robocop. He is here to help out. And they shoot him with the bazooka, and it does not faze him. They shoot him with all the guns. It does not faze him. So he takes them down, no problem, no question asked, and he starts walking down the street going, where's the nuke? Like, just taking random people going, where did you get the nuke? So he finds this sort of location where there's like steam coming out of the, he can tell it's like a lab, goes in and tries to bust this sort of drug lab and try and figure out where it's coming from. Now it's all being produced by this sort of cult leader named Kane. He's running the drugs on the street. And Robocop is on a mission to try and figure this shit out. However, while he's there, he sees this boy who looks an awful lot like his son. And the boy, knowing that he can't do anything about him, he's not going to kill a kid, shoots him in the face. And so we get this sort of like Robocop POV of everything sketching out and then coming back online. And he sees memories of his kid. And so a kid gets away. Robocop returns to the precinct, and we start to see what's happened in his life since a year ago. He's become really obsessed with his, I guess, ex-wife, his living wife and son, who are living their lives out. He's been parking his car out in front and watching it, and there's this sort of, is the cop still in there or is he not? He still thinks he is the cop. And the wife is suing the precinct because she's like, my husband's obviously still in this Robocop and you guys, are keeping him from me. So OCP goes and intervenes and says, hey, Robocop, you are ruining this woman's life. You can't give her what she needs. You got to fucking knock it off. So there's this really heartbreaking scene where he basically has to tell her that her husband is dead. And he's like, touch my face. And she touches it. And she's like, it's cold. He's like, he is gone. This is a tribute to him. And it's really sad. Anyway, so...
The impression you give is of great sorrow.
I'm just trying to be honest to the film, okay?
I love the actual impression you're doing of Peter Weller as Robocop.
Yeah, I would say that his performance it doesn't feel quite as strong in this film, but I think it's really down to the costume because they gave him a much more flexible costume. So the movements aren't as rigid. They're actually a little bit more comfortable, which means you aren't getting that robotic movement. It feels more like a guy trying to be a robot than a guy stuck in a suit playing a robot. So story, it's just a very Robocop versus crime tale. He wants to figure out what's going on with the nuke. He hunts down Kane at his location, and of course they are super ready for him. They tear him apart limb from limb. And return him to the precinct in pieces. He is broken. He's kind of barely holding on. They're sort of keeping him alive, trying to figure out what to do with him. But this is perfect for OCP because they have been trying to figure out how to make Robocop 2. They've been putting other good cops into Mecha, and the results are harrowing. Basically, every single time the robot gets revealed and they're like, introducing Robocop 2. And they'll typically just shoot everyone in the room and then shoot themselves because they're in a lot of pain and it's an awful, awful experience. And for some reason, they cannot figure out Robocop 2. But now that Robocop 1 is gone, this gives them the perfect opportunity. And there is a young lady who is a go-getter at OCP, and she is climbing the ladder and the head of the company, and she decides this is the opportunity for her to go ahead and step in and intervene and find the perfect candidate for Robocop. So she begins her hunt, and in the meantime, they do put Robocop back online, but they give him a new set of sort of programming. They sit down in a kind of town hall style and take suggestions from audience members as to ways they can change Robocop and make him more approachable. And people are like, I wish he would talk things out. He's a bad influence for our kids. And I wish he would, go to schools and talk about, his job more and be more approachable and care about the environment. And so she makes this really big laundry list of things and programs it into Robocop. So he's put back out on the streets with this new set of directives. And it is a disaster. He is completely incapable of pretty much doing anything. And some of the directives, they do list this whole screen that flashes really quickly. So I just want to read a couple of these fun ones. Directive 233, restrain hostile feelings. Directive 239, be accessible. Directive 240, participate in group activities. 246, don't rush traffic lights. 247, don't run through puddles and splash pedestrians and other cars. And of course, the fun one, Directive 262, avoid Orion meetings. This is an Orion movie. So that one's the nice Easter egg. So Robocop, of course, is taken back to the precinct, and he overhears the doctors basically saying, well, we're stuck. We can't do anything with him. This is just how he's going to be now. The only way we could do something is basically electrocute him and hope that he doesn't die. So he walks straight outside, finds a giant transformer, shoves his hands in there, and just shocks himself. His partner comes out with a wood plank and pries him off. And he's like, I am good. Things are good. It's all erased. He's all just Robocop again. So he bands everybody together, and he's really going to go after Kane this time. He is on the war path. So all the cops come together, finally getting off the streets, running in and trying to take down Kane. And big shootout. There is a hilarious moment where Robocop is trying to sneak around the edges and get Kane taken out. And he's Robocop, so he's just going thunk, move, thunk, move. You're not sneaking, sir. You might as well just walk straight down the middle. Like, everyone knows you're coming. But he does manage to get Kane. But of course, even though Kane is injured and basically on death's door through this experience, this is just an opportunity for the up-and-coming OCP lady to go, you know what? Perfect candidate. This guy definitely will do whatever we say because he's addicted to Nuke. So if we just hold Nuke over him, then he will do anything we ask him to do. And he wants to live forever because he's a psychopath. So that's great. And I'm sure he'd want to be in this robot body. So yeah, there's no logic to this whatsoever. So she takes this cult leader and puts him into RoboCop 2, and it is a success. He functions. And of course, Detroit is going bankrupt in the meantime. And so OCP basically owns the entire city, and they are doing a big reveal of RoboCop 2, which leads to RoboCop 2 really wanting Nuke and not being allowed to have it, and taking the remote that's supposed to control him and just going bink with his giant robot arms and taking the armored part off so he can do what he wants, killing everybody and getting into a giant battle with RoboCop 1. I won't spoil the ending. I wonder who's gonna win.
RoboCop 2, right? That's how we get RoboCop 3.
I mean, it could sure be. This film is it's pretty incredible. I had such a good time with it. It's really fun. I don't think I can spoil this movie if I tried. I gave you guys the beats, but there's so much shit going on. I definitely missed like a B, C, and D plot in this movie. The commercials throughout this are fucking insane, but super, super fun. It's got a lot of that tongue-in-cheek humor that I really enjoyed from things like Gremlins 2. It feels like that. It's like a mile a minute just coming at you, and just a lot of cool stuff going on. His partner, she's great in this film. She is just kicking ass. Like, she's never like, oh, I can't do anything, I'm a girl. She's usually the one who's like climbing around in the rafters and finding the good shot to take down the guy who's killing everyone else. Like, she's on it. She's a better cop at times than RoboCop is. I love the Kane robot. He's got really creepy, horrible CGI face that is on like a panel, and he's like screaming and moving around his mouth. It's awful. It's awful, awful, awful. Early CGI. And when he's addicted to the Nuke and he sees it, and at one point RoboCop says, give him what he wants, and like shoves the Nuke over to him, he does the happiest little robot dance, and his like pistons move up, and he kind of is like, oh, the Nuke. It's extremely, extremely good. The big fight at the end, you get everything you need. There's an elevator shaft fight, there's a falling off a skyscraper, there's a crushing, there's a blowing up, there's everything you could want and more. And it has a really satisfying kind of ending moment with a lot of squishing, which is just great. At one point, the fights, when they get really intense, become this sort of stop motion animation that looks like two toys fighting, which I think is a really great unintentional marketing situation, because man, they could sell toys out of that shit easy. Be like, yeah, I want to make the two robots fight. I don't know if they did, but that would have been genius. Yeah, and it's just that there's just a lot of really interesting social issues happening in this movie too, where they're talking about things like environmentalism and corporations versus city politics versus drug overlords. It's like no matter what direction they go, everything feels bad. However, despite that, it is a fun film, and it does end with the song this sort of weird operatic orchestral nonsense. And occasionally it's like, are they saying Robocop randomly in this music? They are. They're going, Robocop. Like occasionally in this, you're like, oh my God, they're just randomly singing Robocop through this. So there is so much trivia on this movie. It's fucking nuts. I don't want to go too much. I literally stopped reading it at some point because I was like, people are fucking trivia nuts over this movie. But I will talk a little bit about how it happened. So after the success of RoboCop, director Paul Verhoeven and the original screenwriters were immediately approached by the studio to do a possible sequel. But according to Verhoeven, he didn't really want to make the kind of sequel that the studio had in mind. He felt that going forward so quickly with their ideas would make it feel like he was attempting to cash in on the first film, and he only really wanted to do a follow-up to the original if it was innovative. The writers basically had already done an outline called RoboCop Corporate Wars. In this draft, RoboCop was to be shot and pulverized to metallic dust by a cannon in the very beginning. He would be resurrected 25 years later as an even more dystopian future, where he would become a pawn in the struggle between an all-powerful corporation, the government, and an impoverished population, which is kind of the plot of this movie, but not the 25 years later part. At one point, RoboCop would have love interest in the form of a neuro brain to humanize them even more. I don't know how that would work, but that's okay. The studio liked the idea, but gave the writers a hard deadline to come up with a full screenplay, which it was just impossible to meet. In the meantime, Verhoeven moved on to do Total Recall. So Alan Moore was originally offered the chance to write the film, but turned it down. And instead, a new script was written by Frank Miller. And Wallen Green is his last name. But the plot also has lines from the original script and early drafts of the movie that were never filmed. And in 2019, it was announced that Miller and Green's rough draft would be the basis for RoboCop Returns, an alternative sequel to RoboCop that ignores RoboCop 2 and RoboCop 3, but didn't really come to fruition. So they just kind of kept passing it from person to person to person. So although the producer loved Frank Miller's original version of the script, they quickly realized it was unfilmable as written. So the final screen version was heavily rewritten and bears only a superficial resemblance to Miller's story. In Miller's screenplay, it was adapted into a comic book series appropriately titled Frank Miller's RoboCop.
Oh, that's interesting. I'd be interested in finding that.
Yeah, totally. I think that's really kind of fascinating. So other favorite pieces of trivia: the point of view shots from RoboCop shown on interface based on an MS-DOS program. The villain Kane has the Apple-based OS interface with a skull instead of the Apple logo, and the special effects were generated with a Commodore Amiga computer. So very, very fun. Listen, guys, there's so much trivia on this, but if you really want to know, just go to IMDb and spend like 5 hours just reading through. It is bulk stuff on there.
I remember kind of liking this movie. I didn't feel like it had quite the satirical bite that the first one did, or at least not as smart.
It's probably, I feel like it's not as smart. I think it falls into its own traps a little bit more, or it's somehow a little bit sillier of a film all around. But it is fun. Like, it is really well written despite that. Like, I mean, it's also big and dumb. It's like, it's a dumber movie, but it knows what it's doing at the same time.
Well, it certainly sounds topical for today's environment, where we literally have people doing drugs on the street and running into, cars into gun stores and stealing guns and shit like that.
Yeah, it was the perfect film. I'm so glad I got an opportunity to watch this. So.
Me too. Okay. Well, the movie I chose was from 2011, and it is called Limitless.
See that guy? That's me. My excuse for looking like this? I'm a writer.
Eddie, maybe it's time to let the writing go.
But just in case you think nothing ever happened to me.
Eddie Mora.
Hey. Tell me about this book. Well, how much have you written of it?
Not one word.
Well, I suppose I can help you with that.
You know how they say that we can only access 20% of our brain? This lets you access all of it. They've had clinical trials and it's FDA approved.
All right, just out of curiosity, and that's all. I was blind, but now I see.
A tablet a day, and I was limitless. I now had cultural appetites.
Since when do you speak Italian?
I finished my book in 4 days.
I'd like to renegotiate my advance.
Math became useful.
From 12,000 to 2.3 million in 10 days.
I'm baffled by this guy. So, Eddie Mora, you do know you're a freak. What's your secret?
Medication.
Your powers are a gift from God or whoever the hell wrote your life script. I'll open up a line of credit for you. You'll be wanting a few toys.
How many of us ever know what it is to become the perfect version of ourselves?
What's the asking price?
12.5.
I'll take it.
Everything I have, I want to share with you.
What you doing, hon? You think somebody's watching?
My brain is skipping time. I have no memory of the last 4 days.
I'm living in that 21st century, doing something mean to it.
Your powers are not earned. You're careless with those powers. Have you asked yourself what you're going to do when you run out? You'll die.
No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours.
There's no scenario in which you'd lead this life where you don't work for me.
No scenario. I see every scenario. I see 50 scenarios. That's what it does, Carl. It puts me 50 moves ahead of you.
Worth the risk? What would you do?
Limitless. It had a budget of $27 million. Box office in the U.S. of $79 million.
Whoa!
And worldwide, $161 million.
Whoa!
This was
damn.
a big, big hit. The Rotten Tomato critics give it 69%, and the audience gives it 74%. Directed by Neil Berger, who directed The Illusionist, the Divergent film series.
Oh, sure.
The Upside. And was written by Leslie Dixon, who wrote Outrageous Fortune, Overboard, Mrs. Doubtfire, Hairspray, Pay It Forward, Loverboy. I mean, she's just been in forever. I have a really neat trivia piece about her. It was based on the novel The Dark Fields by Alan Glynn. It stars Bradley Cooper, who did one episode of Sex and the City and a couple episodes of Law and Order. I don't know if you guys have seen this guy before, but
I don't think I
think
have.
he's going places.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Robert De Niro, 127 credits, including Meet the Fockers, Dirty Grandpa, and The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight.
Oh my God.
And also Abby Cornish, 44 credits. She was in Geostorm, Sucker Punch, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Oh, so she's really the heavy hitter on this cast list,
Right.
is what you're telling me. All right, cool.
I kind of fell in love with her in this movie. I don't know that I've seen, I've seen Sucker Punch, and I guess I've seen, Geostorm. For some reason, she is so beautiful in this and likable that I was just like, oh my God, I've got a crush on this girl.
Oh, nice.
So it starts with Eddie Mora, who is a struggling author in New York City. It gets right into the story. He's sitting at a cafe with his girlfriend, and she passes the keys to their apartment to him, and he goes, just like that? And she's like, no, not just like that. This has been brewing, and you've seen this coming for the last several months. She's super frustrated with his lack of progress. He has a book deal and hasn't written a goddamn word for this book that he's supposed to be doing. He's got zero ambition, no motivation, can't focus, and everything. And he looks horrible. This is not the Bradley Cooper that we have come to know and love.
From Law and Order.
Yes. He looks awful. He looks very pallid, and his stringy hair, and he's just like, ugh. So he's wandering the streets afterwards, and he bumps into Vernon, who is the brother of his ex-wife. And Vernon looks great. And Eddie says, still dealing? And he's like, no, I don't do that anymore, you know. And how about you? You still trying that writing thing? And he's very defensive. I've got a writing deal and all that. Oh, okay, great. And then he says, Vernon says, how's that going? And he, in a moment of being honest with himself, he says, I can't write a goddamn thing. I don't know what's happened. Girlfriend just broke up with me, blah, blah, blah. And Eddie says, hey, you know what? I got something that might pick you up. And he says to him, oh, so you are still dealing? He says, no. This is a pharmaceutical drug, and it is called NZT48. Just about to be approved by the FDA, and it will help you with your creative struggles. So Eddie, having really nothing to lose, walks away. He's given him I think he gave him just one pill, and it's a really cool looking pill. It looks like an aspirin, but it is clear. So it's kind of a see-through looking pill. He decides, what the fuck, and he takes it. And then just as he is going upstairs, he is confronted by the wife of his landlord, who starts yelling at him about rent being due and all of this stuff. And that's when the drug kicks in.
Oh, my God.
And he's like, oh, no. But as it kicks in, his brain just goes crazy. I want to say one thing about the photography in this film. It is so fucking amazing, and the editing is just so cool. So she's yelling at him, and he suddenly sees himself walk up the stairs behind him, and then he just is noticing everything. He's hyper-focused on every little thing. He's watching her yell at him, and he's seeing out of the corner of her book bag half of a title of a book. And he just kind of deflates her immediately, and he says, what's wrong? And she's like, what do you mean? He goes, well, I know I'm a prick, and you're angry at the rent and all this stuff, but something else is going on. You know, is it law school? And she's like, how do you know I'm in law school? And he says, I see the book that you're reading right there. And he just starts going off on this thing on how he can suddenly help her. And he's giving an inner monologue that we're hearing, which is kind of explaining to us and himself, where he's saying, you know, how did I know this? Somewhere in my brain, you know, in the 2 semesters of college I took, I saw that book somewhere, and then something else happened. So by the end of this, he's now he's calmed her down. He's helped her with her law school homework, and he is having sex with her.
Sure.
Immediately afterwards.
As you do. When you've been in Law and Order.
After she leaves, he's like, you know, what kind of person lives in a place like this? He's just looking at this dump he lives in, and he just immediately starts tidying it up, and everything looks great. Then he sits down and he writes his novel in one night.
That's just stressful to watch.
I will say this. I hate putting stuff out there before it happens, but I started writing the novel I've been telling myself I would start writing, and this movie was the thing that made me go, the fuck, Kelly, just start writing your novel.
Aww.
And so
nice.
I'm about 2,000 words into my novel.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
That's fun.
So anyway, Eddie is then like, he goes to, you know, get some more of this drug, and Vernon looks a little like he'd gotten into a fight. And he says, look, I don't want to talk about it, but if you want to help me out with something, yeah, I'll cut you in on this stuff. If you can take my laundry to the dry cleaners. So he does. He comes back. Vernon is dead.
Oh, no.
Vernon has been murdered by people looking for this drug, quite clearly. But Eddie finds the drug, a big, huge tin full of the drug. And he's just like, well, shit. So he takes the drug. He calls the cops. And they're suspicious of him being there, but he's a nobody, and so they don't really pursue that, although he is kind of on their radar now, and that will come back. But he starts taking this drug, and he starts probably taking too much of this drug.
Oh, no.
And his life starts improving, like, immediately. He now looks like the Bradley Cooper we know and love. He is suddenly very handsome. He's gotten a nice haircut. He's wearing suits and all this stuff. And he's starting to get in on the stock market, and he's figuring out how to do all this stuff. And he gets the attention of, let's see, his name is Carl Van Loon, who is a tycoon, and Eddie's just like, "Hey, I wanna help you." And the guy's like, "Who the fuck are you? I've never heard of you before," and all this. And he decides to test him by seeking advice on this merger with this huge corporations coming up. And Eddie helps him with this advice, and it's all very intelligent stuff. And Van Loon is played by De Niro, and so it's very, very good acting in this scene. And I just really loved all of this stuff. And after the meeting, Eddie then suddenly, because of all the drugs he's taking, has this 18-hour loss of memory, kind of a time skip where he can't. The way it's shot is this gorgeous thing where he'll be talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden, just stuff around him shifts, and now he's talking to somebody else, and he's having an amazing conversation. But he knows through the inner monologue, he's like, "What? Where am I? What am I doing? I'm having this super intelligent conversation with somebody, but I have no memory of it." He ends up leaving this bar with this beautiful woman, and then the next shot is this different beautiful woman taking him up to her hotel room.
Oh my gosh.
And then the next day in a meeting, he sees that particular woman he was with was killed in her hotel room.
Oh
and
my
he
God.
has no idea if he has done it or not. So he starts going and trying to figure out a little bit more about this drug and what's going on with it. And he finds out that everybody who has taken it is missing or dead.
No.
And he starts realizing, uh-oh. He starts seeing there's a guy who is starting to follow him and all this. Meanwhile, he has rekindled his romance with Lindy, and she's just in love with the new Eddie. He's got it together. He's living in a lovely place, all this stuff. But she finds out that this is all drugs, and she's very upset about it. He's starting to have a come down, and he needs her to go get the drugs he has hidden. And she's like, "Where are they in your house?" And he's like, "Oh, they're not in my house. They're in your house." And so she's furious, but he needs to go get this drug. Then she realizes somebody is following her, and the guy tries to kill her, and she calls Eddie, and she's like, "Oh my God, what am I doing? What have you got me into?" And he says, "You need to take one of those pills right now."
Oh, shit.
And she's like, no, I don't want this. And he goes, "Listen, you will be able to think your way out of this problem as soon as you take that drug." And so it's a great scene of her being terrified and hiding from this guy. She pops a pill, and then the world just changes around her, and she just starts noticing all of this stuff, like just anything she could kill him with. She's in a park, and there's a kid playing baseball with a bat. She kind of zooms in on the bat, and then she looks over here, and there's a guy, a gardener, cutting grass with scissors, the big clippers. She zooms in on that, and then she sees across the way is this group of people ice skating. So she goes and runs. I love this scene. She runs out into the ice skating rink. This guy is chasing her. They're both sliding and everything. She grabs this little girl and swings her at the guy, and her ice skates cut the guy's face wide open.
Oh my God.
And that's how she escapes.
Man, that child is still in therapy.
Yes, I know. I was like, that's the only good use for a kid I've ever seen.
Oh, Lord.
So he gets the drug back and all that stuff, and he gets himself weaned, or tries to wean himself off it, realizes he has to start being a lot smarter about this. Lindy leaves him again and says, "I really hope that you will get off of this, and I'm terrified what this did to me, and I'm terrified what it's doing to you." Meanwhile, he's got this loan shark threatening him, and at his weakest moment, he gave the loan shark one of these pills, and the loan shark is now like, "I want more of this." And the loan shark, who was just a thug, is now also super wealthy and dressing very well, and all of this shit is coming to a great third act where everything has to be resolved. The loan shark is there. The merger that he was supposed to broker is falling apart, and he has to fix all of that. And he's coming down from the drug, and he has no more of it. So it's a really great climax. He comes up with a very inventive way to get the drug back in his body at the end. That was, I remember being a little grossed out in the theater and a lot grossed out while I was watching it on my TV. I'll say this. I love this movie. I think I liked it when I first saw it, but this viewing just made me fall in love with this fucking movie.
Nice.
I have a couple of interesting pieces of trivia here. Shia LaBeouf was originally cast as Eddie, but had to drop out after badly injuring his left hand in a car accident.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is a different casting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I loved about the writer. In a rare move, writer Leslie Dixon sold the screenplay for the film under the condition that her script would not receive rewrites.
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, wow, that is some power.
Yeah. Damn. Well, after Overboard, you got a lot of power.
Right. You'll like this, Vanessa. Eddie refers to the fact that his father sold supplies and equipment to dental surgeries, the same job Charlie's father had in the novel Flowers for Algernon.
Shocking.
Which is an inspiration for this film.
Shocking.
And then really bad taglines. This one, I'm just like, this is the laziest fucking tagline ever. What if a pill could make you rich and powerful?
Well, what if?
Okay, sure.
I like this one a little better. Everything is possible when you open your mind.
Okay.
And then this one is an actual movie tagline. It can solve any problem. It can unlock your potential. But once the world is yours, everyone wants a piece.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
No better living through chemicals or something like that.
I just thought, watching this movie again, I was brought back to how I felt in the theater from the visuals where the camera just flies through windows and stuff like that. And I just was like, man, this is a masterful looking movie, if nothing else.
Cool.
And then, you look at Neil Berger, who directed it. The Illusionist also looked that way.
Oh,
I didn't see the
sure.
Divergent movies, but I'm sure that they're very smart and classy looking.
At least the first one. And then
Is
it
it?
gets really bad as it goes.
I think he only did the first one.
Oh, well, there we
So
go.
There you go. Yeah, so that was my movie, Limitless. It is on HBO Max.
Well, I was making fun of you the minute you chose this film.
I know.
Because in high school, I read Flowers for Algernon, and it was like my favorite book for a while. So I'm like,
That's a good one.
and I remember seeing Limitless and being like, fucking just meh, and being mad about it. But now that you're talking about it, I'm like, that does sound really cool. And I didn't know as much about film then as I do now. So I'm like, probably should just rewatch it.
Give it a rewatch. I started talking to a couple other people after, I had watched it and told them, I just watched Limitless again. And they were like, oh, yeah, I think I loved that movie. So,
Maybe I was being a little snot. It's very possible. That does happen sometimes.
I do remember thinking, because I was not one of the people who ended up loving the Hangover movies.
No, yeah.
And I remember just being super impressed with Bradley Cooper when I saw this. And I was like, oh, this guy can act. And I think maybe there was a lot of that going on from everybody because he was the dude from The Hangover.
Yeah, I was going to say, it took me a lot longer to realize that he was anything. I remember him being in this movie and thinking, oh, that guy, I don't know. Ugh. Like, just not thinking about it. And now it's like, fucking that guy. Like, he's incredible.
He's a raccoon.
For a while, it seemed like
can
he was
sing.
kind of douchey, but I don't think he ever really was kind of douchey. He was
No.
just in kind of douchey movies.
Well, and he looks so put together and so good. He's got that
Yeah.
kind of natural
Yeah.
frat boy.
It's
that
the
is.
Ryan Reynolds syndrome. Like,
Yeah.
we all wrote him off and we're like, oh, fucking Van Wilder or whatever.
Right.
And now it's like, oh, shit, he's really fun and great to watch.
Yeah, and Bradley Cooper seems like in interviews, he seems like a really nice guy. He really
Yeah.
loves the craft, and he was talking about what a thrill it was to be directed by Clint Eastwood, and also how terrifying it is because Clint doesn't stand behind the monitor. Clint stands behind the camera, so he's right there when they're doing close-ups and everything. He's like, you've got to be pretty sure of yourself when Clint Eastwood is staring at you from 4 feet away.
Oh, wow.
That's a guy who can stare.
Yeah, he's like, and Clint gets 2 takes
Whoa.
on everything, so you better get it right.
Wow.
Oh, fuck.
Which is even more impressive because the man directs some pretty fucking good movies.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it does explain the bad ones.
there you go.
Yeah.
I feel like it's all coming together now.
That means, Vanessa, I believe the next choice is yours.
Ooh, so exciting. Okay, well, guys, it's summertime and it's beautiful outside, and I'm getting these sort of vibes thinking about how nice it'd be to go to a lake and go swimming and maybe hang out with my friends. So I'm going to suggest films that might encapsulate all of those things. Summer camp movies.
And then get horribly butchered after swimming.
That's exactly how I hang out with my friends.
Are you ready for the summer? Are you ready for some good times?
Oh, Lord.
I like this idea very much.
Yeah.
I assume that Friday the 13th is right out.
I would say at least the first one should definitely be off the table, guys. But ideally, if you can find something not in that particular series, it would be for the best. For the best. You better have a good argument if you choose one.
I approve.
Jason 10. See that one. Oh, wait.
No, the only one that has 0 summer camp in it.
Yeah. Isn't that one in space?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the part where we thank everybody for liking and sharing posts and participating in the Value for Value system. We really, really appreciate it. And the way that works, guys, is if you got something out of this podcast, then give something back. Sometimes that's just a note. Sometimes that's in the form of money. We really appreciate that. Sometimes it's by commenting on our YouTube channel stuff, which I have been reading, and I realized, hey, our listeners are way smarter than we are.
Excellent. Did you see the posting about the Ring
I did not.
con?
No.
Somebody posted a video. Sorry, I forgot your name, sir, but thank you very much because it's excellent about exactly what you experienced. Some guy in Europe who's explaining how the con works, and
oh, really?
Yes. Yep.
Oh,
and it's what you described to a T.
Wow.
I have to watch this now. Is there anything about Q-tips in this con?
No.
Okay.
No, that's your own special bonus.
Oh my God.
I will have to look that up. Did you watch it? Can you explain the con right now?
It's
quickly.
You know the whole thing. It's stupidly simple. The idea is somebody who looks like they have a lot of money, sitting by the side of the road or driving up to you as you're walking down the street, offers you, hey, I really need this gas. I'll offer you these ring or this jewelry or something like that as a
exchange.
Yeah, give me money for, and then I'll go get gas. And like the way he did it, he showed it twice, and somebody gave him a card. It's like, hey, I run this business, and then some totally different guy comes up, give him a card. It's not exactly the same, but it's really close. And they all drive like BMWs or high-end cars, and most of them are wearing suits or at least looking really nice. And it was so straightforward that it's like, oh, so that really is the con. The con is just
like it looks like you don't need it. It looks like you're a trustworthy person in a trustworthy scenario.
Yep.
The real problem with this is that I will now go back to my regular pessimistic self, and somebody will be in need of something on the side of the road, and I will drive right by because I
That's what
just don't
happens.
trust anybody anymore.
Yeah. I
see
mean,
that.
living in London for 10 years made it so I trust pretty much no one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll happen, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. We got some content out of that, and I really appreciate it.
Thanks, person.
So we are going to retire now. We will come back in 1 week, and we are talking summer camp shenanigans.
Summertime.
Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, if you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
You know what? I'm going to step away from this road. I'm going to walk away from this road. I'm going to go into the tall grass, and I'll be over here.